new champion, Islam Makhachev.
Man, I just want to tell everybody I can fight with anybody in the like striking, grappling, wrestling because I'm not just grappler. I can strike. I strike with Dustin, with Volk.
Yeah, I've got the skills. I think I think everyone can give people tough fights. I think if he's not expecting a tough fight, he'll be in for a rude awakening.
He's a good boxer. He's a good fighter, but I know I have better skills than him.
The press conference for Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena went down yesterday, and it was everything fans hoped for. Tense, fiery, and full of confidence. Both fighters looked locked in, trading words without crossing the line. Islam stayed calm and focused as always, while JDM showed he's not intimidated one bit ahead of their massive clash.
Like, what do you want the most out of this victory?
I mean, just to retain my belt, like, doesn't really matter. I guess the pound for pound is very subjective. It doesn't really mean much. Just going in there, get the win over Islam is the #1 goal.
It all started with the question about the face-off. Islam didn't get dramatic about it. He said he didn't see anything special in Jack's eyes. Just eyes? It was a simple response, but it showed how little emotion he's bringing into this. It's all business.
Yeah, what did you take away from the face-off with Jack and seeing him for the first time?
I've seen him before in Perth also. Nothing, just see his face, you know. I don't see nothing from the eye. Somebody asks you what you see in his eye. I just see the eye.
When the conversation shifted to his game plan, Islam made it clear he's not relying on a backup. He said plan A should be enough. But what stood out more was how casually he said it, like a man who already knows how it's going to play out. And still, he admitted they trained hard for every possible outcome, just in case.
I talked to Umar before this fight, and he was saying you have plan A, B, C, D, and the whole alphabet ready for Jack. Do you think you're going to need to go to all those game plans, or do you think plan A is going to work?
I hope I don't need the second plan. The A is going to be work.
It seems.
But if not work, you know, we're training so hard. And anything can happen inside the cage, but...
He even pointed out how rough this camp was, calling it the hardest of his career. You could see that black eye he's been carrying for weeks, a small sign of what he's been through. It made it clear this wasn't some easy move up in weight. He's had to grind for it.
I will be ready.
Yeah, it seems like it was a hard camp. You've had black eyes for a long time now. Is that a sign of how difficult this training was?
Yeah, honestly, it's the hardest camp in my life. I start like 3 months before, and
when a reporter suggested that he might struggle if he couldn't take Jack down, Islam didn't flinch. He reminded everyone that he's not just a grappler, that he can stand and strike with anyone. He brought up how he's already traded punches with top names, and that this isn't just wrestling or boxing, it's MMA. That is what makes him so dangerous. He can do it all.
It was a very hard camp.
Yeah. A lot of fighters who are breaking this fight down say that if you can't get the takedowns on Jack consistently, you're not going to be able to win a striking fight. If it does turn into that, where it is stand-up, are you looking forward to proving those people wrong?
Man, I just want to tell everybody I can fight with anybody in the like striking, grappling, wrestling because I'm not just grappler. I can strike. I strike with Dustin, with Volk, you know. He can defend my wrestling, but I will strike and I will try to take him down again, you know. This is not striking much.
Toward the end, when someone brought up Jack's claim about being the better mixed martial artist, Islam didn't get defensive. He just smiled and said nobody really believes that he acknowledged Jack's skills, even called him a good boxer, but made it clear he believes his overall game is better. The way he said it was calm, almost like he didn't need to prove it with words.
There was an interview or something like that where Jack said he said, I'm a better mixed martial artist and I'm coming to take his pound for pound spot.
I think nobody believes this. He's a good boxer. He's a good fighter, but I know I have better skills than him.
And then came Jack. When the topic turned to Islam possibly slowing down in later rounds, Jack didn't get caught up in it. He just said everyone slows down eventually, but he's ready to make sure it happens on his terms. You could feel that quiet edge there, like he's planning something we haven't seen yet.
We've also heard that narrative that Islam kind of slows down in the later rounds. Do you think that's kind of a fair assessment, given, he did finish Dustin late in the fight and he did go 5 rounds with Volkanovski?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone sort of slows down in 5 rounds, so yeah, we'll trust the game and we'll slow him down.
He brushed off Islam's claim that nobody in the division could challenge him, saying he'll find out soon enough. It was just his calm confidence, the kind that says he'd rather let the fight speak for him.
Jack Rea, when Islam decided to move up in the division, he said he looked at the whole division and he didn't see anybody that can give him a tough fight. What's your response to that?
I mean, we'll see. I think, yeah, I've got the skills. I think I think everyone can give people tough fights. I think if he's not expecting a tough fight, he'll be in for a rude awakening.
Later, someone mentioned how Islam's been chasing history and double champ status. Jack knows what's at stake. History, greatness, and the kind of win that could shape how his career is remembered. You could tell from his tone that this one means more than just another defense. It's personal and bigger than the belt itself.
A lot made with Islam coming in here, his shot for history, 2 belts, Anderson Silva's winning streak and everything. Today is the 32-year anniversary of UFC 1. For you, I'm sure you want to be one of the all-time greats as well. How important is winning this fight into what you want to make your career into?
Yeah, massive legacy fight, one of the best guys ever. Regardless of the result, he will go down as one of the greats. So, yeah, it's going to be a pretty good scalp on the resume.
When asked what he wanted most out of this fight, Jack kept it simple. He said it's not about the pound-for-pound rankings or titles people argue over online. Those things don't really mean much to him. For Jack, the only thing that matters is stepping in there, fighting his fight, and getting the win over Islam Makhachev.
What do you want the most out of this victory?
I mean, just to retain my belt, doesn't really matter. I guess the pound for pound is very subjective. It doesn't really mean much, though. Just going in there, get the win over Islam is the #1 goal.
Even though both fighters seem locked in on their game plans, UFC experts are still busy making their own predictions on who they're siding with. Demetrius Johnson broke down this fight with a lot of insight, looking at both sides like someone who's been there before. He reminded everyone that Islam has been tested by some of the best, from Volkanovski to Poirier, and each time he's found a way to adjust. But this time, he's not cutting down to lightweight. He's moving up, fighting at his natural weight, stronger and more comfortable than ever. You could sense that Johnson respects how dangerous that makes him.
At one point, Islam was going to be fighting Ilia Topuria, but Islam, he already fought the 145-pound champ. He fought Alex Volkanovski. He fought him twice. The first time they fought, people were like, we thought Volkanovski could have won that fight. Then the second time they fought, Islam ended up knocking out Volkanovski. And then Islam would fight Dustin Poirier, beat Dustin Poirier in the back-to-back war fight. Amazing. And then he was supposed to fight Arman Tsarukyan, but Arman Tsarukyan got injured. And then money, Mike.
Still, he didn't downplay Jack Della Maddalena. He called him a dark horse, the kind of fighter who doesn't make noise, but quietly racks up dangerous wins. Johnson talked about how sharp Jack's striking is. He even pointed out how Jack's pressure after defending takedowns separates him from most fighters. Where others reset, Jack attacks. It's that constant forward rhythm that could give Islam real problems if he can stay standing.
JDM, to me, is a dark horse. Why do I say dark horse? He's not very well known unless you follow the UFC abandoned, right? Like Guru knows all of his fights before he got to the UFC, where I did not know all his fights he got to UFC. But the first time I caught my eye on JDM was when he fought Gilbert Burns. He never accepts the position. If Gilbert Burns would take him down, he's always wrestling, he's always grappling. But he has one thing that's a key in his camp, and that is the great savior of jiu-jitsu is Craig Jonesy, right? Craig Jones has been able to jump inside of the Aussie camp and be able to give these guys a good recipe to be able to counter the Dagestani wrestling. But I don't know if it's going to be enough for JDM. But with JDM, he never accepts the position, and he has beautiful, technical, simple hands on the feet. He's very tight. It's no wasted movement. It's very precise, very technical.
Johnson seemed torn while making his pick. You could sense he respected both men too much to speak with full certainty. He leaned slightly toward Islam, mostly because of how proven he is under pressure, but he also hinted that there's something about Jack, the way he never accepts a bad position, the quiet confidence in his fights, that makes this unpredictable. It wasn't a confident prediction. It was more like a gut feeling that anything could happen when the cage door closes.
This one's hard, boys. This one's fucking hard. The reason why I say it's hard is because JDM is still unknown. We don't know what he's capable of. I feel that. I feel that in my gut. We know what Islam is. We know what Islam is. What Islam can do. We know where Islam is. He has struggles. You know, when he fought Dustin Poirier, that was a fucking banger. And all Dustin did to stifle him was defend a takedown. You know what I mean? And Dustin's very good at hands. I think JDM is better on the hands with his precision. I think Dustin is more of a cracker, more of a brawler. But JDM just seems like he has this recipe that can beat, and he has Craig Jonesy in the camp. But Islam is so fucking good. Like, so fucking good. Oh, boys, we're in a predicament. This is where I'm going to give you my predictions, but this is where I can see if either of those guys win. So for me, I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev.
Tim Welch admitted he wants Jack to win, but his gut says Islam might take it. He talked about how Islam's power and control could eventually lead to submission, especially now that he's not draining himself to make weight.
If I had to pick right now, Jack, I want Jack to get it done. I really do. I really want Jack to win, but I think Islam is going to take him down and submit him. I do. His control on the ground is too good. I don't know if Jack is training with any guys at his level. And again, you train all these things. You train separating the hands. You train doing Granbys. You train doing like these Uchimata throws he was doing. But once you feel somebody like Islam, and it's another level of grip strength. His chances is he can create scrambles, try to get into the later rounds. Jack's got great cardio. There's ways for him to win, but I do see Islam Makhachev being a little bit too much at this point. I got Islam Makhachev winning by submission.
Dylan Dennis admitted the matchup itself was tricky to predict. He mentioned how Jack had struggled early in his fight with Gilbert Burns before landing that knee, and he wasn't convinced by Bilal's performance either. Eventually, he made it clear that if he had to bet money, he'd go with Islam, but there was still that personal edge to his words. Dylan said he hopes Jack wins, mostly because of his long-standing grudge with Islam.
The fight, seeing how it goes, it's a hard one to call, to be honest, because I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, JDM was getting beat up by freaking Dorino pretty bad on the ground, and then he got that knee, and then Bilal is terrible, so you can't really, like, if I had to put money on it, if I had to put my money on it, I would say Islam. I hope JDM wins. I hope he beats his ass, because obviously I hate Islam. But if I had to put money on it,
why do you hate him?
You don't remember what he did to me after the Conor and Khabib fight when he was punching me in the back of the head?
Was that Islam that punched you in the back of the head?
That was Islam, yeah, that was Islam.
What made Max Holloway's prediction stand out was how specific he got. He said the first 2 rounds would be tight, both guys testing each other, but if Jack can keep Islam working, keep him standing, he might wear him down and take over. He even pictured Jack finding success late, maybe a 3rd round TKO if things go his way. It wasn't a wild prediction, just a confident one built on what he's seen from both men. Chael Sonnen made his prediction clear. His official call is Islam by decision. He said he has too much respect for Jack to see him getting finished, but believes Islam's control and top pressure could edge out the rounds. Still, you could tell he had a soft spot for Jack, calling himself one of the first to ever talk about him publicly.
Khabib talks about it. But he doesn't just talk about Islam and Ilya. He takes it on specifically. He goes head on with John Jones versus Piera. Straight up, head on. Jones-Piera is not the world's biggest fight. Islam versus Ilya is. Okay. He's not right, but he's not wrong by much. So, you know, what would put you over that hump? Well, one of them fighting. I mean, quite simply, Islam having a great performance at Madison Square Garden.
Chael praised Jack's rise, especially his performance against Bilal Muhammad, calling it the best version of him he's ever seen. He said that version of Jack, the sharp, composed, confident one, could absolutely beat Islam. The only question, according to Chael, was whether Jack could reach that same level again.
Fights, it would take the lead, which is where Khabib's right. It's where that point comes in. Now, it's not just right because Khabib says it, but none of these things come about if you don't start the narrative. There are no big fights. There are no contests. There are no matches. Nobody's getting the main event at the White House that doesn't campaign for it. It's not like a bunch of guys are going to put in and then the UFC sits down and makes some phone calls one day and we all read about it on Bloody Elbow. Like, it's not like that. A couple of guys are going to step forward. They're going to make their absolute best arguments. We'll see who wins, but that's who the main event will be. Now, I want to stay on Islam and Topuria.
When asked to pick a winner, Kamaru Usman didn't commit either way. He said both men have tools that could trouble the other, Jack's sharp striking versus Islam's relentless grappling. But he leaned slightly toward Islam, explaining that experience in deep waters often becomes the deciding factor. Still, he emphasized that it's a close fight and anything can happen once they start trading.
Man, it's a tough one. Who do I think wins? I think both guys present a lot of things that could give each other problems. Now we got to remember that they're both going in against each other, both southpaws. Jack now has shown a tendency to be able to switch effortlessly and make it look very fluid to where you don't see it. And so that's something that he potentially could have in his back pocket. But they both fight very well in the southpaw position. Now, like we mentioned, he's bigger. He's gonna hit a little bit harder because he's used to carrying that just extra weight on him when he throws his punches. But where he has shown a little bit of a weakness is being taken down in the wrestling aspect and kind of controlled. And so that's also primarily an area where Islam has shined.
Everyone's given their take, but the truth is, this one feels like a coin flip. Some see Jack's sharp striking and composure as the key to ending Islam's streak, while others believe Islam's pressure and grappling will wear him down over 5 rounds. Either way, this fight has that big fight energy written all over it. Who do you think will win? Let us know in the comments below.